Hebrews chapter 11. Last week we looked at, or last Sunday morning rather, we looked at prayer. And we looked at the important questions of prayer. And those important questions were who, what, when, where, why, and how. We call it the 5 W's and an H in the field of history. Y'all know how I feel about history. But we call it the 5 W's and an H. So this morning we're going to go along those same lines, but we're going to look at something that is talked about a lot, but not so much understood. And that is faith. A lot of people say, well, I have faith, or I know what faith is. And to some degree or another, that's probably true. You probably do know what faith is, or have an idea about what faith is. But let's try to understand it, shall we? Hebrews chapter 11 is often called the chapter of faith, or the faith chapter. Why? Because it describes to us all the different people of the Old Testament that are known for their faith. And that's very important that we understand that, because a little bit later, Lord willing, we're going to explain that or get into that a little bit more. But let's just read verses 1. Well, let's start and just read verse 1 for right now. First part of verse 1 even. It says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for. So what is faith? Well, if you look up faith in the dictionary, you'll see that faith is defined as the hope of something, or the belief in something or someone. In this case, faith is how we hope for something better or something greater than ourselves. In this case, as Christians, we have faith that God is. God is what? That's it. Just God is. God is, and that's greater than me, so that's okay. That's all I need. God is bigger than me. God is able to control things. I believe that. That is my faith. It's how we hope for something. It is what we are hoping for. It is not just something that is, well, okay, it's there. No, it's something that we are believing in. Faith is an action. It's not just a word. It's not something that just simply describes. It is an action. Faith is something that we do. We continuously believe. Believe in what? That something is better than where we're at now. That things will be better than what we're at right now. But you say, but we're getting older, and getting older is not better than being young. Well, I've been young, and now that I'm getting older is not that bad. Being young and doing less than intelligent things. The older I get, the wiser I get. The wiser I get by listening to other people that have been there. That's a good thing. Not that being young is bad, but the older I get, the expression that youth is wasted on the young is becoming more and more true. But we have a hope that things will get better and will be better. But you say, but we're getting older, and when people get older, they start falling apart and things go wrong. But excuse me, my hope does not end that this life ends. My hope goes beyond. My faith goes beyond that this life will get better. Because this life may not get better. This life is going to be difficult. Jesus himself promised that, hey, life's not easy. Oh, we can look through history, and even the richest people can tell you that life's not easy. And sometimes life gets better, but life is like a roller coaster. It's got ups and downs. It doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor or somewhere in the middle, if you're healthy or if you're sick or somewhere in the middle. Life is a roller coaster. It goes up and we have downs, and we have ups and we have downs. We have mountains and we have valleys. We have rivers to cross and we have storms to go through. And all of those analogies are true whether we're saved or whether we're lost. But my hope is that it gets better. My hope is, my faith is that is not it. That this life, and it's all of its great times and all of its bad times and all of its roller coaster rides, this ain't it. That's what my faith is. That's what our faith is. That this ain't it. It gets better. What do I mean by that? Our faith is that one day this life will be over, and whatever way it ends, that heaven is waiting. But we can't just simply believe that or hope for that. What did I tell you? Faith is an action. We have to continue to do stuff. We as Christians should have the faith. What do I mean by the faith? I mean belief and believing, continuous action in Christ, in God, in His Word. That's what continuous action, that's what the true faith is. Now everybody's got faith, to answer our who question. Everybody's got faith that life's going to get better. Even people from other religions, or they believe that their gods are real, and they have faith that their gods are real, and that one day their life is going to get better. One day, even atheists who don't believe in God, supposedly. I've yet to find a true atheist. Maybe one day I will. But even the people that claim they don't believe in God, they're hoping that something is going to get better. But what difference, what makes us different, or what makes Christian faith different than anybody else? Well, ours is true. We've got something that we can feel. We have the Spirit of God. No other religion claims to have a Spirit of God that we can feel. We are it. If anybody's here and they're born again, or they're Christians, they can tell you that the Holy Spirit leads me, it directs me, it encourages me, it helps me along the way, it teaches me, it makes this thing that we call Christianity, it makes it real. It makes it true. It makes us something the things that we are believing in, it makes it real. And you know what? It makes it good. Even when I'm going through the lowest of lows, and I believe I've been there recently, my grandmother passing away. I've been there, the lowest of lows. But you know what? It was still okay. Because I still had that faith that she was doing a whole lot better, and one day I'm going to be doing a whole lot better with her. That's what my faith is. That's what my longing is. That's what my hope is. That's what I am hoping for. That's what my faith truly is. Quickly, where are questions of where and when? We as Christians should take it with us wherever we go, all the time that we go. Whenever we go, wherever we go, we should take it with us. What do you mean, take it with us? What, I don't get it. The answer to that is in the how of faith. What do you mean, the how of faith? I mean, how is faith lived out? We said it's an action. We said it's something that we have to do. What does that mean? What does that look like? It means right there in the last part of verse 11, where it says, verse 1 rather, of chapter 11 of Hebrews, it says, the evidence of things not seen. Now, some people tell you that refers to the faith. But I'm telling you that refers to the person who is acting in faith. It is the evidence. People should look at us and see evidence of what they can't see. What does that mean? That means they can't see God. They can't see Christianity. They can't see religion. But they can see how it works by watching us. And how do we do that? By living out our faith. Well, how do we do that? By being different. By not acting like the world acts. By not going around and cussing and drinking and doing all of those things that the world says, hey, this is what a good person does, or this is what you do to have a good time. Well, I can tell you what, I can have a good time without those things. I can have a good time without those things. And I do all the time. My wife and I, we go places, we go out to dinner, we go to theme parks, and we go to the beach, and we go out on the boat, and we do all those things. And we don't drink. You know what? We have just a good time. We don't need those things. And people see us, and y'all are out on the boat, and you're not drinking? No. Why not? Well, let me tell you why. Because we're Christians and we believe in acting differently. Oh, okay. Nothing wrong with that. Because acting differently is how people notice us. And what does that mean? When we act differently, people take notice and people want to know, why are you acting differently? And a lot of times they'll ask. Now, does that mean that we as Christians were better than those people that do those things? No. What's the difference? The difference is the faith that we have. They can be just like us. Or we, by a few bad choices, can be just like them. But we need to act differently. We need to live out our faith. Why should we live out our faith? Let's go back to verse 2. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 2. This tells us why right here. He says, for by it, meaning the faith, the elders, meaning all the people we read about in here, the elders obtained a good report. What does that mean? That means that people watched their lives. And they watched how they were living. And they watched the faith that they were living out. And they affected history. Not only of God's people, but of all the world. To this day, some of them. By living out the faith. By living out the faith. It's so important that we have faith. And that we live out the faith. That we show the world the evidence of what they can't see. Why? Because they are watching. And they are analyzing every decision that we make. And everything that we do. And every step that we take. And every word that we say. People are watching. And what are they going to say? Hey, that person's living differently. That person's living like Christ. That person has got something different. They've got something that I want. Or are they going to say, that person's just like me. They ain't got nothing different. Why am I worried about it? I don't need that Christianity thing. I don't need that salvation thing. They're living just like me. I don't need that. Man, I hope they don't say that about us. But people are watching. How do we live out our faith? It's so important that we live out our faith and show people the evidence of what they can't see. So important. Jim, if you could play us a song. If you need to pray, come on. If you need to talk to God about your faith. Sometimes faith gets a little bit weak. Times get tough. And there's nothing wrong with coming and say, hey, God, strengthen my belief. There's nothing wrong with that.